Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to today's session of Live at the Waterhole. Thank you all for joining me this afternoon, or this evening, or this morning, wherever you may be in the world. My name is Kelly. I'm going to be with you for the next couple of hours to see what these fabulous We do appreciate everyone being here. We look forward to hearing from all of you. Please send through any comments or questions you may have. We are here at Tau Game Lodge in Madikwe Game Reserve at the moment with some beautiful elephants. I'm just seeing if my internet is gonna come to the party this afternoon. Let's cross our fingers. My internet is trying to play ball with via WhatsApp. Please send them through to the number you can see on your screens.
Experience the magic of the wild on an unforgettable 4-night safari at Mabula Nature Reserve. Hosted by the one and only Stephen Falconbridge. With Steve as your private guide, you'll gain incredible insights into Africa's wildlife, leaving with knowledge and memories to last a lifetime. Get hands-on with conservation, track elusive cheetahs, and even take to the skies on a hot air balloon ride. Wild Earth Travel, where Africa comes alive. South Africa's wild places are closer than you think, because Federal Airlines brings them to you. From the calm of our FedAir lounge to the smooth boarding of our trusted fleet, we take care of the journey so you can enjoy the adventure. Our flights go beyond the ordinary, connecting you to South Africa's most remote and extraordinary locations. Federal Airlines, your gateway to the South African wild. Join our expert guides at dawn for a live, immersive safari as the bush comes to life.
Found ourselves a chameleon, and look how he's changed color.
Every sunrise brings new discoveries.
Pound for pound, a leopard is one of the strongest cats around.
Ask questions, share your thoughts, and connect with nature, live and in real time.
Great excitement, great happiness.
Start your day with adventure.
Okay, everyone, I believe I am back. Huge apologies for that. I believe I am back. Hi. Huge apologies for that. I am having some internet issues, as I'm sure everyone knows is quite common. So apologies, but I am back and my elephants are back, or our elephants are back, should I say. And this boy is having a lovely look. I love it when they rest their trunks on their tusks like that. Those trunks are heavy. I'm not surprised he's having a rest there. But anyway, I digressed. I apologise profusely. And I'm still, if anyone is still with us, thank you so much for your patience. And please send in all your thoughts. Send through any of your questions. This is a live and interactive show when the internet is working anyway. But you are welcome to send things through to us. I will try and get through as many questions as I possibly can. I am aware I had some homework outstanding. My favourite question that I was trying to work out the answer to was, how do elephants know when to stop sucking when they're sucking water in their trunk? I did not come up with a logical explanation of that other than if we suck something through our nose, we're going to know when it's going to be too far. That was all I could come up with on that one, unfortunately. I have done a little bit more research on the temporal fluid that's produced by elephants. There is lots of hormones in it. There are lots of lipids in it, lots of fats. And I did indeed confirm that there is a misnomer that it's only produced by bulls, and during must, because of additional hormones, it is produced by bulls in that time. But my research did confirm my beliefs that it can be a sign of any sort of emotion or heightened state of emotion in either sex or even in youngsters. Who do we have here with us this afternoon? I'm not sure who it is. Hello, Kelly, Zoomies, chatters, and all at Wild Earth. It's a beautiful Friday on the North Coast in KZN. Hello, thank you for joining us from the North Coast in KZN. Mr. HUAE87, hi, Pen and all. Hello, sir. Thank you very much for joining us. Rosalind McConnell, hi, everyone. Penelope Kenyon, hello. How goes it? Deb Davis is saying, hi, Kelly. Yesterday we were indeed talking about a carcass that we'd seen. Mercedes Bean, greetings Wild Earth and chatters, happy Friday. Shireen D, hello to you too, thank you for joining us. David, hello Wild Earth and chatters, joining for half an hour or so. Where are you off to, David? I hope it's something very important that you're going to leave us behind and go and do it. But thank you for popping in for half an hour. I'm sorry about my tech issues that interrupted your first 30 minutes. Old Punkster, yes, that elephant does indeed have some very impressive tusks. Joanne Mello, happy Friday, Wild Earth and Kelly. Back at you, Joanne Mello. Thank you very much for being here. Scaredy K, it looks like an elephant viewing day today. Indeed it does. There's certainly plenty of elephants present. And it's nice to see that there's still water in these little, you call them wallows or drinking areas that these elephants have created close to the dam. Spas, good afternoon, Spas. Great to be with the elephants at Tenby. An amazing start indeed it is, if a little slow this afternoon. Mr. Elemental, hello back at you, Mr. Elemental, and to all the live at the Waterhole. And you're watching from Mundaring in Western Australia. Welcome. Thank you for joining us from so far away. It's hugely appreciated. I am delighted to be here with you for the next couple of hours. Those tusks on that elephant on the right are very even, very straight, very even. I have mentioned it before, and I'm not sure how much scientific backing there is to it, but a very good friend of mine once said elephants with nice, clean, undamaged, straight, equal tusks can sometimes be a little bit more genteel than those you see with a big battered, broken, chunks missing tusks. I'm not sure how much truth there is in it, but it would make sense to me that those elephants with the breakages and damage would possibly be more likely to use those tusks for defense or with other elephants. So that would probably make sense.
My heart is pounding at the moment.
We are here in one of the best places in the world to see tigers.
Every guide in Africa has been on an endless quest for the ultimate bush whale. until now. Rugged Wear has a huge range of amazing bush gear for every wild situation. In the midday heat, those chilly winter mornings, in the storms of summer. Rugged Wear has the bush kit for every wild occasion. Locally made in South Africa, crafted with precision, stitched with quality.
Step away from your daily stress and escape into nature with Wild Earth. Immerse yourself in the wilderness and become part of the natural landscape. Watch as everything comes alive. Join us as we slow down our thoughts, put aside our distractions, and reconnect with the wild. Every month, something wild lands in your inbox. From rare sightings and behind-the-scenes secrets to expert stories, seasonal changes, and exclusive travel opportunities, the Wild Earth Journal is your free monthly mailer, packed with the magic of the wild straight from the field. It's fun, it's free, it's full of surprises. Sign up now on the Wild Earth website.
Well, there's lots present, but I don't seem to remember seeing them too frequently on camera. I'm not sure if he or she has already had a drink. The edge of that water there doesn't look like the best place for a giraffe to drink to me. It's a little bit sloped, and they struggle enough without adding additional slope to their drinking spots. Maybe they're just passing through. Giraffe obviously browses, well, not obviously, but they've been designed in such a way that eating from anything other than trees might be a little bit logistically difficult. Not many trees left around the Tau waterhole. Oh, I've just heard that there was 5 cheetah came down to visit the Tau waterhole recently. That would have been very cool. I think there is I think she's collared. I'm happy to be corrected on that, but there is a female with, I assume, 4 youngsters. I wonder how old those youngsters are now. I haven't seen them often. Let's see, is this giraffe going to drink? Maybe he's gone round to a different point where it's not quite as slopey. He's scoping for an appropriate drinking spot. See, this is not as sloped. Let's see if he's going to have a drink here. Spas, you're asking, do I know how common giraffes are at Tau? They're fairly common. They're present. We see them relatively regularly. Not so much. I don't feel like I often see them at that water there, but I do recall from when I was working there full time, we didn't normally struggle to find giraffe in that area. I believe I am back. And our giraffe, he's definitely giving some hard thought to having a drink here. He's very much out in the open here, so he's probably feeling very vulnerable. This is a male. I can tell now. He's got those bald patches on the top of his horns there, and also even more helpful is you can see that sheath underneath his belly, which is also a great indicator which I like to use. I do apologise if my internet's a bit up and down this afternoon. I will be having some discussions with my fabulous internet provider, so I apologise. Thank you for sticking with me. David, I was in the middle of saying, you're going dolphin watching. That sounds a very... Have I ever seen one? Not up close. I've never seen wild dolphins up close. That would be very, very cool. Penelope Cannon, you've read that ellies have a muscular valve that closes off water from reaching sinuses and lungs. That would make sense. That would make a lot of sense. Like I said, I didn't get too far with it. I suppose it would be different for us because we're not supposed to be sucking things through our noses. So we probably don't have an inbuilt valve, but elephants are designed to do that. So nature giving them that built-in valve would make a lot of sense. And Lady Macbeth has confirmed that yes, it is a mother and sub-adult cubs. Mindy, yes, he does. He does look like he's stopped mid-step. I was just hoping that he wasn't frozen again because of my internet, but I now see he's having a good chew there. You find animals often, when you look at animal body language, you have to take everything into consideration. I was about to say then that animals will often rest a leg if they're having a think about something or they're not sure, but then I immediately thought, I know for a fact horses stand with a back toe rested. If they're just chilling, it's just a comfortable position for them to stand in. So you have to take all animal behaviour with a pinch of salt and look at the bigger picture. So I would say this giraffe is indeed having a good hard think. He's smelling, he's looking, he's considering his surroundings. It is a very, I suppose in one respect, see there's pros and against of big open areas. A plus is, oh, who's coming in for, oh, elephant photo bomb. A big plus is that they can see there's nothing hiding in the undergrowth. So I would have thought that possibly for a giraffe at least, maybe being in a more open area before they drink would be beneficial. They're up high, they can see a long way, they're able to see things coming from long distances. Morgan, you're asking, is it true that the giraffe has the biggest heart of all land mammals? I'm thinking, my gut says no, my gut would probably go elephant, but don't quote me on it. I know giraffes have a very powerful heart, and the left ventricle is much thicker because it has to pump blood all the way up to the top of its head there, which means it has that heart muscle is very, very thick. So maybe it's got the thickest left ventricle of any land mammal. I actually saw a preserved elephant heart at the Elephant Museum in Kruger the other day, and they are massive. Nice little procession, they're making their way round to the other side.
My name is Amy, and today we're going to be doing things a little bit differently.
The Wild Earth Impact Foundation is a non-profit that uses the power of wildlife storytelling as a force for good. We create sustainable development projects that showcase conservation stories, empower people, and inspire environmental action. As a registered South African PBO, you can make a tax-deductible donation to the Wild Earth Impact Foundation. To find out more, visit our website.
See, she's got white there on her trunk. It looks like they've maybe been taking water from one of the concrete roads that's there's a few of the more pale substrate roads around town, and the one at the front there, she's got much more red on her face. I'm sure this little family group is making their way to the most appropriate drinking point for the little ones. Spas, you're asking, how often do you see a stampeding wildebeest at Tau? A stampede is just a group of frightened running animals, really. So it would depend on how often they were, if they were chased, or wildebeest often they will move in groups. I've noticed, but it's not so much a panicked run, but more a relocating lope to get from one area to another. Often, if there's rain in an area, we know those wildebeest well from the migration areas. They will travel and they will lope to cover great distances. Stampedes are normally caused by an event, so it depends on how frequent there's an event. If there's some wildebeest and a lion stands up, then they're probably going to panic and run away. So it all depends on external events, really, Spas. Morgan, you're also asking the fastest bird in Africa, peregrine falcon. They get to ridiculous speeds when they dive. We do get peregrine falcons in Africa. I think it's the fastest animal on earth, I believe, when they're diving. Swifts, they're pretty quick because I've spent a lot of time trying to identify them flying, and it's almost impossible. Doves are actually pretty quick as well. Laura Young, you're asking, do fighting male giraffes ever seriously harm each other? Yes, they do. They have been known to kill each other, which is fairly serious harm. They will try and avoid it, but they do use those heads, those heavy bony heads, almost like clubs. And I've seen it. I've never seen it in the flesh. I have sat next to giraffes fighting before. Actually, I've done it in the dark. It's almost more impressive in the dark, not sort of right next to them, but that thud, it's loud. And while they're big animals, that's got to hurt. But now I've seen a video clip where an elephant has struck another, giraffe has struck another giraffe, and it's died. So yes, they can indeed do some serious harm. Mindy Tilibat, it'd be nice to see a cross section of the inside of an elephant's trunk. It is absolutely fascinating, actually. And thank you for sharing. I'm actually going to go and look and see exactly how that valve works. It would make complete sense that there is something there to stop inappropriate water suction on an elephant. Hello, Anish. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. Yes, there are indeed crocodiles in the water there at Tau. We often actually see them sunning themselves there on the bank. Or moving through the water. There's been some epic incidents of crocs eating things there at the Tau waterhole. But often, unless you're watching carefully, the first sign you get is a huge splash. Dark Main Lover, hi. And you're also saying hello to FC Mika. It's a pleasure being here this afternoon. I am standing by for your excellent questions, Dark Main Lover. That always makes me smile. And everyone's questions. It's so nice to get that grey matter thinking. Another bit of homework I was set last time I was here was the difference between saltwater crocodiles in Australia and Nile crocodiles that we see here in Africa. The main difference is saltwater crocodiles do indeed get bigger. I was right, they can get up to about 7 meters, whereas Nile crocodiles varies. Lots of sources say 5 meters. I'm sure there'll be someone out there that says I said a 6 meter. But saltwater crocodiles do get bigger. Saltwater crocodiles, it seems, are sort of stockier and chunkier. So not only in length, but also in body structure. Saltwater crocodiles are indeed quite tolerant of brackish water or salt water. So geographically and environmentally, they differ in that. And it seems that saltwater crocodiles might be a little bit darker as well, but are all basically killing machines. Got some lovely zebra here at Tau. I felt terrible a couple of days ago. I was in a hurry, and as I left the house I didn't realise that the zebra were, there's I need to tidy my front garden up, there's bits of grass in the driveway, and I had no idea that there was 2 zebra cleaning up my tufts of grass close to the front door, and I frightened them so badly. I felt absolutely terrible. I really made them jump. I felt really guilty for giving them such a fright, but I didn't know they were there. nice peaceful zebra and elephant scene here. But I think let's head across to Rosie's pan and see what activity we have got across there. We've got some more oliphants here. See, this is a nice spot for, in my opinion, for a giraffe to drink. It's quite level. They wouldn't have to reach down too far. I'm just thinking, actually, when giraffes drink, I'm surprised they don't walk into the water a bit. I'm just thinking back to how often I've seen giraffes drinking, and if I was a giraffe, I'd walk in there a bit, so I wouldn't have to bend down quite as far. But they don't normally do that. I wonder why that is. So Rosie's pan is very close to where I am. This is very accurate weather conditions in this area total at the moment. It's about, a lovely cool 24 degrees, somewhere around there. I do enjoy this time of year and how clearly the seasons change, and it changes quickly here.
Join me, Andrew Wistenholm, for an indescribable 6-night stay in the beautiful Albany of the Eastern Cape at Amakhala Game Reserve. Now, this trip is going to be action-packed with a lot of storytelling, adventure, as well as the opportunity to make everlasting memories. We'll be exploring the best of Amakhala by staying at 2 luxury lodges, which will be the perfect blend of comfort as well as wilderness. Book your spot today and let's get ready to explore the wild beauty of Amakhala.
Wild Earth has launched a special fundraising drive for our non-profit, the Wild Earth Impact Foundation. We're raising funds to source, create, and showcase thousands of untold stories. Stories that spark real action in conservation and social impact. Visit our website to donate and explore how you can become a founding donor.
My full name is Cedric Leslie Dold. I grew up mostly in the Lowveld. I grew up here pretty much on the southern side of Kruger National Park, a place called Marlow Park, for most of my years. Something surprising about myself, I did play drums in a band for many years. Best sighting I've presented, we found Palumba and the 2 cubs, and the cubs are just way big.
First visit from Warthog the other day at the house as well, and it is indeed very, very special. Duckmane lover, hi. Kelly, how do animals distinguish who are the friendly animals and who are very dangerous to them? I think a lot of it's instinct, to be honest. There's the old adage of nature or nurture. And animals to, I suppose animals to humans is a little bit different. Predators tend to have forward-facing eyes, so that would be a good sign. But a lot of it is instinct, I think. And if a mother has got youngsters of whatever species and she runs from them, then the babies will run from them as well. So I think it's probably the old adage of a combination of nature and nurture. We do get the odd instances where, you know, we hear stories of leopards playing with snakes or anything like that. That's not a great idea. But I think as a rule it's instinctive. Wildlife lady, always good to have elephants. Fantastic. We have indeed got lots of elephants today. It's getting very dry here. Look how quickly this grass is drying out. And it's only, where are we? I suppose it's nearly June. Ha! The year is flying by again. David, bye. Have a great outing today. I'm very jealous. This elephant is probably maybe finishing out having a good smell around the water's edge. I'm sure checking to see who else has been present. It's like reading the paper. Many animals have got an absolutely fabulous sense of smell. Very important to most species out here in the bush. Let's go across to Aldonio. I'd love to see what activity we've got up there on our Aldonio cameras this afternoon. Oh, some excellent Kenyan birding. I have a Kenyan bird book. Well, it's my sub-Saharan African bird book. I'm going to have to, it was my mic stand, but I'm ready. I've made this mistake before. Oh, look. Oh, look at those beautiful starlings. Wow. And they look like babblers. Dark Main Lover, it's a pleasure for answering your questions, but I'm going to quickly have to ID these starlings now using my book. Please excuse me. 608. It's nice using books again. I spent. Oh, that's gorgeous! Look at that bird. Okay, I had a very white eye. Is it a superb starling? I think that's a superb starling. Have they got, yep, they've got that white, they've got a little bit of white, so they've got that iridescent chest and then a white stripe and then that russet underneath. So I'm going to go superb starling. And indeed they are absolutely superb, and that looks like some sort of babbler down there. Oh look, and there's, what's going on in this water? Are they just having a bath? It looks like they're all just bathing. What beautiful images. That looks like some sort of, maybe it's a weaver. Let me check the Kenyan weavers maybe. Oh, there's a lot. Wow. There's like 50 weavers in this book that I've got in front of me right now. 6, 7. I do enjoy using books, so we often use apps for identifying things now. But there is something a bit special about using a book. This is a 720-page bird book. See, that looks like a black bird with the yellow beak. Where's my Kenyan birder that helps me on here sometimes? So you get sort of used to looking at the shape of birds to try and at least get a starting point. I seem to remember a buffalo. See, that looks like a buffalo weavery with that red beak and black. Oh, look, there's a brown one as well. Oh my goodness. See, look, who's that with the red tail and the black face? You're all just talking amongst yourselves while I try and work out what these birds are. Come on guys, chip in here. You've all had a chance to do this before. I've got the superb starling, but the other ones I don't know what they are. So if someone could help me, any of you fabulous viewers that have had chance that look, they look like little firefinches or something. Wow, this is a fabulous bird party. Dark Main Lover, I think they're superb starlings. I got to that one quite quickly. And it's the only starling I could see with that white band across its chest and that sort of red russet underneath. I think they were superb starlings with those. That guy there with that very pale eye. But the others, I tell you what, let's just enjoy these birds and appreciate how many different species are here all at the same time, all enjoying a little bit of a bath. That looks like one of the canaries, maybe? We're also seeing here, I call them bird parties, well everyone calls them bird parties, where groups of lots of different species will come together to utilise a resource. That looks like a firefinch. Morgan, so what is the similarities of the buffalo and the buffalo weaver bird? That is a really good question, Morgan. They're both dark. Only one of them can fly. Maybe it's just that they're dark, but there's lots. Oh, look, that's a great image. Someone screenshot this image for me so I can identify it. Or someone please help me. I mean, that could be a babbler, that could be a weaver. Actually, if that bird comes back, I'm taking photos of my own screen to try and... There we go. If you look, that looks like a lovely little firefinch type shape as well. That looks like a Jameson's firefinch, that front one I just saw then. I recognise him. But look how they're all using these resources. They will often do it if there's lots of food. But it doesn't look like there's food here. It looks like they're all just having a little swimming club. Not swimming, Little bathing, maybe it's safety in numbers. But you often find this happens when there's a food resource. Lots of species will come together. There's lots of lovely butterflies up here as well.
Welcome to Safari Spotlight. We'll be
And you pretend like you're a citizen, eh?
Got no idea what's going on this reserve.
Expecting the unexpected.
Are we stuck down there?
What am I trying to do?
So we have another giant of Mabula. That was incredible.
This is unbelievable.
It's going to be a spectacular afternoon.
Some of you out there are brilliant at identifying hyenas.
Now, why do you think people have got this huge misunderstanding about reptiles?
Right in front of me there was the face of an astounded buffalo bull.
This is live and interactive, so everybody, if you have any questions and comments, please do send them through and let us know what you'd like.
Wow. I'm not even going to try and identify these butterflies. I couldn't even get the Kenyan birds, so let's just appreciate them for their numerous beauty. Look at that. They don't look real. A stunning array of different coloured butterflies. They actually look like I've just bought some things to put on my windows because shame I've had a couple of birds not see my windows. So 2 days ago I actually had some they're supposed to help birds to see windows so they don't fly into them and hurt themselves. And I've got a pack of 40 sort of butterfly stickers, and this is more colourful. I need to go around and put them on the windows. I feel terrible if I have any negative impact on any of the nature. Wow, I'm going to sound like a terrible person. Birds flying into my windows and frightening zebras. I feel really strongly about trying to be as kind and gentle to all animals, but I'm in their area. I've decided to be here. They were here first, and I really want to try and take as much care of anything living in the same area as me as I can. And if it means covering my windows with colourful butterflies, I'm absolutely down with that. Wildlife lady, there sure are some very pretty birds here. Fantastic bird party. Wasn't that cool, hey? If you could tell me what any of them are, that would be even better. Dark Main Lover, I saw you asked earlier, you're asking what animal in the bush is extremely intelligent and who has zero intelligence. That's a bit of a loaded question, but I know your questions are loaded. It depends what you see as intelligent, really. There's emotional intelligence, there's survival intelligence, there's instinctive intelligence, none of them can do maths. I wouldn't have thought, look at these butterflies, this is crazy. So again, it's down to what you interpret that. I think everything here is insane for just being able to make it. These butterflies must also be utilising the water. I wonder what's going on here, that all those birds and all those butterflies. I've never seen this before. I don't know if anyone else has. I don't know what they're doing. Unless butterflies are there's a pile of those spotty ones there. I'm going to stop talking for a minute and just enjoy these butterflies. Sorry, Impala, with an Impala in the background. You're nice too, boy. But look at this. This doesn't look real. Karen, yes, it's a rainbow of butterflies. There's no other. But I'm trying to think. What's causing this? It's interesting that all those birds of all those different species were flocking together at the water, and now these butterflies are doing it. What could be causing this, I wonder? Can anyone tell me if all these butterflies have been here for a few days? Or is it sort of in the last couple of hours? Shireen D, yes, that is a beautiful male impala. Apologies, I haven't even mentioned him. He's standing there looking very regal. Chewing his ruminant there, ruminating his food. Okay, apologies, I think we just lost that camera there. I thought it was me again, but it wasn't. But if anyone can tell me, or give me any information on whether those butterflies have been hanging around like that for a while, I would be very interested to know, because I love the why of things now. Jackie's here. You can see it's really starting to... 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 It's really star the ground is getting increasingly bare there. But I'm just trying to think of why so many interspecies of butterflies would flock like that. It's normally moisture. I remember learning very early on that everyone used to go, oh, look at the lovely butterflies, but butterflies will often flock around dead things, around carcasses, and suck their decaying juices from them. Sorry if that's ruined anyone else's. I should have kept that to myself. I didn't need to ruin everyone's perception of butterflies. But it's often moisture. But maybe there's a mineral or something that has been exposed in that ground. I'm not sure. Every time I do this, it's brilliant though. I love it. I give myself homework, and then I do my homework, and then I get more homework. So far on the list, I still want to go back and check. I'm going to get a bit more information on the automatic valve in elephants' trunks that I don't know how it works. So I'm going to find that out. I'm going to work on. I've taken a couple of pictures of my screen, my fairly aging screen, so I'm not sure how vivid my colours will be for identification of those beautiful birds up there. I think I only got the superb starling right. The rest is another work in progress. I still have outstanding, which will I may never remember to eat again if I get too involved in this, is different species learning things from different species. I did a little bit on it, but yeah, that's a massive subject that may take up, or I hope it takes up, the rest of my life, because that is absolutely fascinating stuff. And another one is, I didn't manage to find, someone was asking me, is there any reason for the white ring around waterbucks' bottoms other than potentially a follow me sign? And I didn't find anything, but I'm not convinced there's no other theories. So now I'm just adding more homework, and I want to find out temperature. Maybe it's a temperature thing that those butterflies were so active. Maybe it's been cooler there, so butterflies have been less active. Right. Maybe it's a temperature thing or a climate thing that's triggered more activity from the butterflies. And a beautiful bird party there as well.
He is such a handsome young male. Look at that pose. Absolutely beautiful. My full name is Cedric Leslie Dold. The best driver at Wild Earth, it is me. I believe I'm the best driver. I think so, because I've... best part of my job, I say, is just to try and look out for these animals, track them down. I love tracking animals. I love looking for, fresh tracks, and if you can find them, it's just at the moment of accomplishment. If I wasn't a presenter for Wild Earth, I would be the drummer for AC/DC.
Can you hear that? The wild is calling.
Still waiting to find out who might, there was someone that watched regularly that was brilliant with those birds that could have helped me. I'm actually let's go back and try and work out what some of those beautiful birds were. Those superb starlings, I'd never seen those before. Starlings have this beautiful iridescence to them, well, many of them. It's caused by the keratin alignment in their feathers. That alignment in their feathers is called Tyndall scattering, and it's the way light reflects from those feathers. And different alignments of that keratin causes different reflections. The sun, and those superb starlings, I think they completely deserve their name. All those weaver nests there. Totally different scene to what it is in the summer months. These nests are a hive of activity in the breeding season, with those male weavers super busy creating these intricate nests. I always have lots of fun trying to work out the difference between southern masked weavers and village weavers. It's all based on the sort of, I think there's a couple with one of it. The only difference is how much gap they've got between their eye and the colour change on their face. And when they're flitting around like crazy, it's very difficult to. So the lesser masked weavers, they've got the pale eye. Southern masked weavers and village weavers are very similar, but I think it's the village weaver that the yellow goes all the way down to the top of their beak, and then the southern masked weaver's got sort of a little bit more of a black gap between the yellow on their head and where their beak starts. So yeah, I always have lots of fun every summer trying to tell the difference between southern masked weavers and village weavers. That's not a big crocodile there, is it? No, I think that's a log. Is that a log? That really looks it. I'm gonna. I don't know. I feel like that looks like a crocodile to me. That's a rather large crocodile, if it is. Oh, Egyptian goose scooting through the frame there. There's still plenty of water here. This is great news. We did get some relatively good late rains here, which will have really helped the bush. Still plenty of water in this dam, but you can see lots of the... Oh, noisy. I actually watched an Egyptian goose a while ago. I was sitting by a river, and there was a pair of Egyptian geese claiming their turf, as they do. And another one, it flew. It was flying over. It wasn't even stopping. And one of these geese took off from where it was on the sand and went chasing after this other goose. It wasn't even going to land, bless it. It was only passing through. Karen Sachs, you're asking, are impala the most common animals in South Africa? Oh, that's far too loaded. Mammals? My gut wants to say yes, but my brain says don't say yes without doing more research. So my gut says yes, but I'm still not prepared to confirm it. There might be something small that I'm not thinking of, that there might be more of. Maybe some sort of rodent or something. I don't know. I'm not sure, Karen, to be honest. I think they're probably the mammal we see most recently, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they are the most numerous. Penelope Kenyon, are you saying that was a crocodile I could see? There's Julia Croc. Okay, that sounds like I was right. Despite my elderly laptop being slightly pixelated at distance, I was right. I thought that looked like a crocodile. You get quite in tune to picking out crocodiles because it's quite important you recognise them. There's a couple of little wagtails down there at the water's edge as well. Dingy, what's the biggest prey I've seen a croc take? In person, not much, to be honest. I've seen crocodiles feeding on lots of things that we assume were killed by the crocodile, but we all know the first three letters of assume. I've seen a crocodile take a good sized catfish, like I've watched it happen, but as is so often the case with kills, it's right place, right time. I've seen clips, I've seen recorded evidence of them taking huge things, all the way up to zebras, obviously, in those migration areas. But personally, just a big catfish. But I've seen them feeding on impalas before, in face to face. I've seen them feeding on hippos before, but I don't think they killed them. That sounds like a little wagtail calling in the background there. I would love to go and have a look at that crocodile again if we can. Ah, there we go. Thank you very much. That's a decent sized crocodile. I just wanted to give you all an update. We are having problems with the server at the moment. Our fabulous tech department are working feverishly on trying to get it back up and running. But until then, that is a good sized crocodile though, hey? Oh, I tell you what I'd like to look at on this crocodile. I noticed the other day on a different crocodile, probably one of the towel crocodiles, that there was bands along its tail. So it was a sort of white scales, black scales, white scales, black scales. And then as it got closer up to its body, there was fewer black bands on it. And I didn't notice those black bands as clearly on this crocodile. So I wonder if that's a change in coloration as they age. Interesting. Oh, I also have monkey visitors for the first time actually yesterday, which monkeys can be problematic in residential areas. But they came for a drink. I've got a little bird bath out. Some people might say, "Oh, you shouldn't put bird baths out," but yeah, sorry, I'm going to do it anyway. And I saw the monkeys came for a drink for the first time yesterday. The monkey was actually present at the same time as the warthog. So these are all signs that it's definitely starting to get drier. And lots of the animals are becoming increasingly visible while they try and look for water resources. Mindy, you're saying that it seems crocodiles often rest with their limbs positioned backwards. They do. I've noticed that. But I think that's sort of almost the natural position for them. If you think about how a crocodile would swim, their legs, their sort of orientation of their legs would be more backwards. They would sort of, not flop backwards, that's the wrong word. Dangle, also not the right word. I can't think of it. They would be backwards if they were swimming. So much more forced position. So yes, I've also noticed the same thing there, Mindy. Jive Bunny, you're amazed when they carry their baby crocs in their open mouths. It's mad. It's absolutely insane. Lots of these big-teethed animals, I don't know if that's the technical term, the way they do things like hyenas when they pick up babies with their mouths, how they can be so incredibly gentle and aware of their own body, aware of their own bodies and how much pressure they can put. But it is very, very cool to see them when they're carrying those little ones in their mouths like that. Jive Bunny, I thought so. I do recall seeing lots of hippos here, but they're obviously out and about today. But it's cool, and food scarcity is happening. And as we move into the winter months, they will be out feeding. They will need to be out feeding for longer, especially on nice cool days like this. It's nice and overcast. What is it? Oh, apparently the temperature is 26. It doesn't feel that warm. So those hippos may well be out looking for food. They can often travel, I've heard stories, they travel up to 20-25 kilometres. In the winter months, they walk a long way. And if you think about all these herbivores, huge heavy bodies, it takes a lot of food to keep them nourished and operational. And they have to travel as far as they need to travel, to be honest. Oh, noisy. Joanne Mello, you're more afraid of an elephant than a croc. That is... That is a really interesting comparison. I can normally tell you really easily which animals I would rather bump into than others. I think it's a very fair statement. But the only difference is, in my opinion, elephants don't want to eat you. But a crocodile would have to try harder, if you know what I mean. An elephant, I'm just trying to think, if you were on foot, walking around a waterhole like this, I will agree with you. If I had to swim across a waterhole with elephants in or crocodiles in, I would probably choose elephants. Oh, I don't know. That's a really interesting point. I suppose I think I might be with you. The only difference is that elephants don't want to eat you. Crocodiles do. They really do. They want to hunt you and they want to eat you. I once read, and again, don't quote me on it. I'm getting increasingly nervous of saying anything I ever read anywhere in case it's incorrect. But apparently, two of the only animals that actually want to hunt humans are polar bears and crocodiles. We are considered a food source. I remember someone also once told me, if you ever have to cross rivers in Africa, don't cross at the same place, because crocodiles will watch. They will watch and they will work out and they will position themselves accordingly. Interesting one there. In a vehicle, I'll tell crocodile all day long. Swimming around in a river, different scenario again. So yeah, it's a tough one. Lorraine, at which point do crocodiles change water holes? Again, it depends. It depends on food resources. My gut tells me if a water hole is quite small or gets increasingly small, it will mean that climate conditions are drying out because the water is dropping. And if that's a very noisy bird. If climate conditions are drying out, that will mean there are fewer water resources, and if there's fewer water resources, it means more animals will have to come to remaining water sources, which would mean that there's more likely to be animals that would come to that crocodile's waterhole. Therefore, wouldn't really want to leave because there's lots of food. So again, a rambling response there, Lorraine, but it depends. There's so many things that depend on conditions and resources and health and where they are. If there's one waterhole left in 500 kilometres, it's probably not going to leave because it doesn't have any other options. Would it know that? Again, then we're going into the realms of animal learning and thinking. So yeah, it would depend. If they had lots of selection, also another factor could be if a bigger crocodile moved in. If there was a smaller one and a bigger one arrived, there is a chance that the smaller one would leave because it's dangerous. Joanne Mello, yes, any wild animals are indeed a risk. People don't realise how big things like impala are. Hey, if you stand next to like out of a game viewer, out of a vehicle, lots of these animals can do you a lot of damage. Most of them don't want to, but any animal can be a risk. It's why when we do our training, we refer to rather than dangerous animals, it's potentially dangerous animals. That's how they're technically referred to. Viewing potentially dangerous game, because a lion stood over there 40 metres away while you're sat in a car with your windows closed is not dangerous. He's over there minding his own business, but potentially dangerous game. Nice little shady spot there. Almost looks like someone should be sleeping under there. Karen, speaking of dangerous animals, it's the hippo you need to watch too. Yes, I agree with that fully. But I think one of the I've never trusted hippos. I think one of the problems I have with hippopotamus is I don't feel like I understand them very well. I don't feel like I read them very well, because I haven't spent much time being able to observe their body language, because so often they're in the water and you get to see eyes and ears and a nose. And while there is something to be learnt from ears and eyes and indeed noses of animals, you can't. I've never been able to get a big picture. If I saw two hippos standing next to each other, I could probably tell which one was more uncomfortable or nervous about a situation than another one. But I think it's because I haven't had, like, I like to think many animals I'm able to read their body language, what they're communicating either to each other or anyone or anything else entering their area, through practice and reading and understanding. But I haven't watched hippos for extended periods of time, not out of the water, because invariably if they are out of the water and you are near them, then they leave. It's quite unusual to find a very relaxed hippo out of water that doesn't move away from your approach. I actually remember I was walking a primitive trail quite a while ago, actually, and there were hippos in a dam, and I don't know if anyone else would like to add to this, but apparently it's very unusual for hippos to leave the water to be aggressive towards people anyway. I'm happy to take that on revision, but it was a very reliable, experienced source that told me that. In the water, they're in their safe space, they feel secure, that's their area, and I was told it was very unusual for hippos to leave water, and the problems were more likely to occur if you bumped into a hippo that was already out of water, therefore feeling more vulnerable. Which could then cause a tricky situation. But I've always given hippos lots of space. I do not want to bump into a hippopotamus on foot. I have heard a story of someone bumping into a hippo that was sleeping in a drainage line. Everyone came out of it okay. But that hippo got a fright, and most of these rather large animals can move surprisingly quickly, let's put it that way. Sandy Franklin 69. Hi, how are you doing? I did just, if you've just joined us, Sandy Franklin, I did just apologise on our behalf. There is a problem with the server at the moment. So everyone is stuck with me here at Jackie's Sarby house. Sounds like a wagtail calling there. That sounded a bit like red-faced stickler. Oh, some oxpeckers. See, these oxpeckers are calling. Let's see, can we pan out and see what has brought these oxpeckers to the party? We are very in tune, well, we should be. Guides should be very in tune with the call of oxpeckers because they often travel with or on mammals from impala size upwards. So I'm fairly sure, well, not fairly sure, that's a lie. There's a good chance that we have some sort of mammal approaching because these oxpeckers are joining in. Or the other thing is there something walking in the background there? I feel like something's just walked into that grass.
He is such a handsome young male. Look at that pose. Absolutely beautiful. My full name is Cedric Leslie Dold. The best driver at Wild Earth, it is me. I believe I'm the best driver. I think so because I've... best part of my job, I say, is just to try and look out for these animals, track them down. I love tracking animals. I love looking for, fresh tracks, and if you can find them, it's just at the moment of accomplishment. If I wasn't a presenter for Wild Earth, I would be the drummer for AC/DC.
Can you hear that? The wild is calling.
But Deb Davies, thank you very much for saying that, but I probably wouldn't. I'd like to have a good guess though. Joanne Mello, every time I see a croc you think of Steve Irwin. Joanne, that's a very noisy goose. That's a very noisy goose. Joanne Mello, I was a massive fan of Steve Irwin. As I've grown into my career path and current way of thinking, I'm not 100% convinced I agreed with lots of some of the things he did, picking things up and whatever else. But you know what? I'm okay with that. I actually remember, God, that was a long time ago. That must have been 2009, 2007. Let's see when the world lost the legend that is Steve Irwin. Let me check. I think it's 2007 maybe. 2006, I wasn't far off. I cried and cried and cried when I heard that news. I think he was a massive personality, a huge character, and he did so much for raising awareness around conservation. And I've heard people in my industry say, oh no, shouldn't be doing that, picking things up, but there are so many worse things that happen in the world. If it was for no reason or to intentionally harm animals, that's one thing, but he did so much to educate people on conservation, and even just to spark an interest, even if it, just to spark an interest, just to show a bit of passion, to show some insight, to spark some people's interest. If you'd said to a lot of people, oh, look at this snake, probably 80 people out of 100 wouldn't show any interest. But if that enthusiasm and that drive and that joy and have a look at this snake, then you're going to get a lot more people showing an interest, and that's exactly what he did. So Joanne Mellor, I am a massive Steve Irwin fan. Note some of his techniques may have been a bit off, but personally I'm okay with that, and he did more for conservation than many people out there. I actually made a donation to Wildlife Warriors when he died. I have been to Australia Zoo. I actually went to Australia Zoo before he sadly passed away. I travelled with a friend of mine, and he was based down to around Sydney, and I was adamant that I had to go to Australia Zoo. I thought, I've travelled a long way, and he was like, really, that's really far away? And I said, yes, we're going to Australia Zoo. And we drove all the way from Sydney all the way up through Byron Bay, and I spent a day at Australia Zoo. I was very excited to be there, as you can imagine. You keep panning in on this thing here, and I'm paranoid that I might be missing something. Is there a snake or something in there I'm missing? My friend Daryl, who I haven't spoken to for many years now, he was Australian. Well, he still is Australian, and he had burnt his feet 2 days prior. He didn't do sun at all, and he forgot, and he left from his ankles, sort of 20 centimetres above his ankles, and his feet out in the sun. Shame, I made this poor guy drive all the way up to Australia Zoo, and he came in with me for like half an hour. So I was very excited, as you can imagine, and I was running around, and I wanted to see all the things that he said, mate, I'm going to go and sit in the car with the aircon on. I can't. So I spent the day at Australia Zoo pretty much on my own, just running around, being very excited about the experience of being there. So that was Joanne Mellor. I proper went off on one then. But I am a huge fan of Steve Irwin and what he stands for, and his passion and his drive, and indeed what his family has carried on as part of his legacy. So yeah, I've got a lot to say about Steve Irwin. But if you, who was it that said earlier they rest with their legs backwards? Mindy Tillipal. If you look at that crocodile now, if they were swimming, that's the shape they'd be in. I still can't think of the word I'm looking for, not trailing. Their limbs will flow out behind them, so that is their natural resting position. And I don't see those black bands on this crocodile the same as I noticed on one of the Tau crocs the other day. You can see the ripples on the water there of probably little insects, maybe a few fish in there as well. Breaking the
This is an unbelievable afternoon.
At Wild Earth, we believe every story has the power to create change. That's why we've launched the Wild Earth Impact Foundation, a non-profit dedicated to conservation and social impact. By showcasing conservation stories, we can change lives, protect nature, and empower communities. We have partnered with Empowers Africa to accept tax-deductible donations from US donors. Your donation will help fund critical programs that support our mission. Join us and be part of the change.
Out here, every wild moment counts, and as a Wild Earth explorer, you will not miss out. Watch the Wild Earth channel ad-free 24/7, and you can even rewind if you have missed out on something. Enjoy the behind-the-scenes video clips as well as fireside chat, or get the early offers on our travel experiences. It's the best way to stay connected and be part of the Wild Earth family.
Created the industry as we know it today, or possibly from reading that short excerpt, possibly the way everyone should be going back to things, maybe focusing on local employment and empowerment, part of non-consumptive tourism. That sounds amazing, and one of the pioneers of photographic safaris. It sounds like we need more like all of these people. Penelope Canyon Waterhole Show is nearly over for today. I'm glad you've enjoyed your lunchtime special. It's an absolute pleasure. It's been a little bit tricky today, everyone. Thank you for sticking with us. After my initial internet issues to start with, and now we have a little bit of a problem with the server. I really appreciate you all staying with us. Wildlife Lady enjoyed today's live at the Waterhole. I'm glad you did, Wildlife Lady. It was an absolute pleasure from me, and I'm sure from FC and all of the Zoomies as well. I can only imagine the trauma that our tech department is currently feeling. I am due to be back with you tomorrow. Fingers crossed. tech allowing. And my homework for today is going to be more research around elephant trunk valves. I'm going to have another run into species teaching other species things, but that's a massive topic that I may never come back from. Still haven't found out any alternative suggestions as to why the ellipson waterbuck has such a clear white circle, and indeed why the divisive waterbuck does not have a clear circle but more of just a white bottom. I'm going to have a look at my blurry photos that I took from the screen to have a look at those beautiful birds in that stunning bird party that we saw up there, in addition to the superb starling that I did manage to identify, and look at alternative suggestions as to why those butterflies. I think we're just going to go across to Founders. I think we finally got our feedback with 2 minutes to go over the show. Although it's actually been quite peaceful just watching this water. Maybe I should have been quiet a bit longer. Let's have a final look at Founders. Oh, that's what the that's what the Egyptian goose thought of that. Just finishing off two very happy looking rhino. This is drying up quite quickly though, this one here at Founders. But that's that's going to help with the situation. Brilliant. What a brilliant way to finish the show today. This rhinoceros heavily contributing towards the continued fluid in this waterhole. But thank you all so much for joining me this afternoon. Thank you for sticking with us. Apologies for any tech problems. You are appreciated. We look forward to everyone coming back again tomorrow, same time, same place. Thank you for being here, and I will see you and hear you again tomorrow. Take care.